Tonight is the tale of a young married couple who left the bright lights of LA to find a new start in a small town where things are not quite what they seem. Tonight I ruin Bad Apples.
Okay.
I have no idea how you get Hitler from this.
Just look at his mustache and his Jew-hating eyes.
Those are Jew-hating eyes?
Alright, welcome back to episode 4, Damien Ruins Horror Movies. Hi, I'm Damien. Tonight's movie is Bad Apples. 2018. I know I normally don't do newer movies, but it's not that I don't do new movies, it's that I don't do new movies that people have heard of, or popular movies that people would actually want to watch. This is one where you probably either you haven't heard of it, you have no interest in seeing it, or you've already seen it. So if I spoil it, I don't really feel bad. But if you do want to watch this and you want to watch the movie, then go watch the movie. It's on the Tubi app. Also, I don't do anthologies and TV shows. Other than that, it's just movies. So Bad Apples is directed by Brian Coyne. I think that's how you say it. It's not spelled like coin. But so movie opens as a header. It says October 31st. There's no year. There's a pregnant lady inside her house. She's like doing the dishes or something, and a guy walks in. The whole scene's silent. There's not a word said. And he pulls out a butcher knife and just starts stabbing her in her stomach. And then she goes down and she looks up at him and she's like, "These were your kids." She didn't say it like that though. But they are his kids, and he kills himself. But if he hadn't killed himself, the story that he told his friends would be like, yeah, then that bitch had to get the last word. She's like, "These are your kids." And so I just got out of there. But he dies. And she dies. And then the door opens and another guy walks in. And he's all, "Honey?" So that's the actual husband. That's who's, I don't know, apparently she was having an affair with this, or she left this guy for that guy. I don't know. Then we flip to October 30th. So I'm assuming we weren't going back a day. And we go in and we meet Ella and Robert. They've just moved into their house. They're laying in bed. They're moved in, but they're not unpacked, so there's just boxes everywhere. And she wakes him up. I'm not sure what time it is, because she has already gone to the school and met with the principal because she's going to start teaching the following Monday. And she's gone back home. She's gone to sleep. She's waking up. She wakes him up. He starts his new job at the hospital, working like graveyard. So he needs to sleep late, but it's kind of seemed like she woke him up because he wanted to keep sleeping. But she says, "Let's get up and start unpacking." So he gives in, he goes and takes showers, and he goes to the store. While he's at the store, there's a knock on the door, and it's the creepy, large-breasted neighbor paying a visit, who is actually Harley Mom from Feast, which is another great movie. And she's kind of like the harbinger / welcome to the neighborhood lady. But she expresses, she's like, "Whoa, I don't like the sound of that." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "I didn't hear the door unlocked before you opened it." She's like, "Yeah, it was unlocked." She's like, "You should really lock your door." And then she gives her a pie. Then she mentions that there's a pedophile that lives across the street. And so keep your door locked. But it's like, okay, a pedophile, they don't have kids. It'd be different if she was like, "There's a pedophile that lives, or a sex offender that lives right over there. So keep your door locked." And you'd be like, "Oh, a sex offender? What kind of sex offender?" "Pedophile." "Oh, I'm not worried. I don't have kids." Not to put a light on pedophiles, but it's kind of like the pedophile's not going to rob me. Pedophile, they go after kids. We're cool. So she leaves. The next scene is the principal's office. Principal Dale. He's got a couple of girls with masks on in his office. And it's Halloween. Even though the header says October 30th, for some reason it's Halloween. And it was made clear that a day hadn't passed between her going to her meeting and waking up with Robert. I don't understand it. But even though it's Halloween, he can't wear a mask. The girls refuse to take their masks off. Principal Dale kind of pushes the issue. One of the girls grabs a metal, like, decanter and starts smacking him over the head with it until he falls down. The other one grabs a flagpole and runs him through, and then they leave. Then that night, a guy walks into his trailer house, trailer home, takes a big swig of whiskey, and he walks down, and there's the girls. So apparently he's their dad, and he starts making them costumes. They kind of help, and then they put the costumes on. And for some reason, they sneak out the window, even though he just helped them make the costumes. So, like, he knows they're going out. Like, I know you guys are leaving. Why are you sneaking out the window? The front door is right. The front door is like 5 feet away from it. It's a trailer. It's not like, well, it's quicker to go this way. So they go out and they go to a trailer. I assume it's close, like they're in a trailer park, and they start egging this house. And there's a lady inside. And it's a lady that we haven't met. It's one of the few characters. Like, she's just some lady. I don't know who she is. She's not Harley mom. She's just some lady. And she comes out, she walks out of her house, goes like 10 or 15 feet, and like just starts looking around, like Homer Simpson. She's like, okay, I'm gonna stop looking. I'm gonna stop looking. Meanwhile, they go in behind her into the house and start snooping. One of them finds her pistol. And then when she finally comes back in, the other one's got her garden gnome and just cacks her in the head with it. And she falls down and she's against the couch. And the other one just sticks the gun in her face and like shoots her in the face like 5 times. And then just tosses the gun down and they start walking off and they leave the house. And I don't know why they didn't take the gun with them. I guess it was out of bullets. They didn't bother to look for more bullets. But outside they find a hatchet and like a sickle. So they take those with them and they keep walking. Then we go to Sam, the pedophile's house. He goes inside, he gets his little life alert necklace and starts doing some kind of weird drawing. Grabs a beer, then he hears a noise, or he hears the knock on his door, and this little girl voice is saying, trick or treat, trick or treat. And he's like, I'm not allowed to celebrate Halloween. Tells him to get out of there. But they don't. But it turns out they're like in the house. And then he finds them and he tells them to leave, but they don't. And once again, there's just the one. He doesn't know there's another one. The other one comes up behind him with the sickle right in the back. And he's like, he falls down. And then they leave. And next, we get back to Ella, and Robert's house. And Robert is getting ready for work. She kind of starts giving him a guilt trip, like, I don't want you to leave. I don't want to be here all by myself. And he's like, well, just lock the doors, turn out all the lights. That's the weird thing about this movie. They have to turn out all the lights. Normally, if you don't want trick-or-treaters to come to your house, you just turn off the porch light. That's kind of the universal sign for, I don't want to give you candy. But in this, like, you got to turn out all the lights. Make it look like you're not home. Otherwise, they're going to think you're an asshole and they're going to start banging on the door. So just turn out the light. But lock the door, lock the windows. He's 10 seconds away. Just call him if you need him, and then he'll come on back home and everything will be fine. So she's like, all right. So he goes to work. Meanwhile, the masked girls, the girls in the masks, go over to Harley Mom's house, who's a cat lady. She's got a little cat that she's like playing with. They get into her house, they do the old, there's only one of us, to distract her. And she cuts her leg and Harley Mom falls. And the other one comes up, she's holding these 2 dead cats by the tail. And she walks up and then she like takes a dead cat and like chokes Harley Mom out with it. I don't know if that's possible to choke somebody out with a cat, unless maybe if it had been dead for a while and it was really stiff. So then later at work during Robert's shift, he meets Macy and he's really tired. I don't know why he's so tired, because it seems like he got to sleep in. relatively late. So he's just kind of sitting there yawning. Maybe it's because he's bored, because he's there and nothing's really happening. And he was expecting a lot to him. I don't know. He's expecting back because it's Halloween. So he's like, ah, shit's going to go down. My first day is Halloween where all the crazies are out. But he's sitting there bored and yawning, and he meets Macy. And they talk, and then we go back to Ella's house. Phone rings. It's her mom. So she talks to her mom for a little while. And she's talking, and then she hears the knock on the door. And she hears the little trick or treat. So she tells her mom that she has to go, which is really stupid, because if you're scared and you're worried that something's going on and you have somebody on the phone and there's somebody at the door and you're going to go answer, keep the person on the phone. You don't have to take the phone with you. Just keep it like an earshot. So like, if something did happen, your mom could call the cops. You don't just be like, hey, I gotta go. So she hangs up, she goes to the door, and she doesn't even answer. That's the weird part. So she didn't even have to hang up. Maybe she didn't want to talk to her mom. It seemed like she didn't mind. But she tells them, it's like, I don't have any candy. My lights are out. You know, come back next year. And they're like, trick or treat. They just keep on. And then finally it sounds like they leave. So she picks up her phone, calls Robert, gets his voicemail. Like, what kind of prick is like, hey, just call. I'm 10 minutes or 10 seconds away. Just give me a call if anything happens. And then she gets his voicemail. It's like, yeah, thanks, Robert. So she apparently puts her phone down and starts wandering around the house. Like she hears noises or thinks somebody's in the house. And then the smoke alarm goes off. So she goes down to try to see where it is. And I can see, you know, when you move into a new house, like, you don't know where everything is right away. And if there's smoke, it's a house, it's 2 stories, so there's going to be more than one smoke alarm. But there's also a lot of smoke, too, coming from the kitchen. So she gets to the kitchen, and in the sink where all the smoke's coming from, there's a towel, and it's wrapped around, it's smoking because it was on fire, and it's wrapped around her cell phone, which now doesn't work. But it wasn't like there wasn't like an actual fire, or at least not by the time she got there. But now her phone doesn't work. So she starts walking. When she gets down the hall, she doesn't realize that one of the masked girls, is down on the ground waiting for her, and she walks by and she gets to stabs her in the foot, and she's like, what the hell? And then she looks at the front door, and the door starts slowly creaking open, which is like, what happened to locking the door and locking the windows? Like, how did the girl get in the house? And now how is she just walking in through the front door? Didn't really make a lot of sense. So she's kind of freaks out. She's like hobbling, but tries to run as best she can toward the stairs. One of them hits her in the back with a butcher knife, which I didn't notice the first time I watched it, but she runs up the stairs, closes the double doors, locks them. Normally, I always say, don't go upstairs, go outside. But in this case, I don't think it really matters because this neighborhood seems kind of, I don't know, just kind of shitty. I don't think she would have been better off going outside. So she goes upstairs, and then she kind of leans back, and the handle of the butcher knife hits the wall and goes into her, and she's like, ah, and like she just now realized it, which makes sense, you know, your adrenaline's going, you're scared, you don't realize there's a fucking knife in your back. So she takes it out and like kind of throws it in the bathroom, and she's sitting there and freaked out. She's like, doesn't know what to do, because now she's trapped herself in her bedroom, but she has a locked door, so maybe they'll lose interest and leave eventually. Meanwhile, back at work, Robert is there, and obviously Sam comes rolling in on a stretcher because his little life alert necklace button saved him. And Robert looks at him. Robert had met him earlier that day, and Robert recognizes him, and he sees that he has a message from Ella. So he's like, oh, I need to go call my wife. It's like he finally has something at work to do, and he's like, yeah, I gotta go make a phone call. It's because Macy's like, what do you now? So he goes outside, he tries to call her, can't because her phone doesn't work anymore. He's like, I need to go home. Macy had followed him out there. She's like, you can't go home. Why do you want to go home? He's like, well, because I know that guy. She's like, yeah, that's Sam, the pedophile. It's like the whole town knows that this guy's. It's like, why wouldn't you move? Everybody knows. I mean, people are gonna know something, but when everybody in town knows you, I mean, it's supposed to be this small town, but it doesn't really feel like that small of a town. And so she's saying, hey, maybe your wife is just scared. She's overreacting. She's in a big house. First or second night in a new house. It's Halloween. She might just be overreacting. And then he just like vomits this story about how they left LA to start a new life because they had a daughter, and then their daughter died because she got sick, and his wife, like, he thought he was gonna lose her, and they went through all this stuff. Macy's like me, I would have been like, oh, okay, just go. Jesus, you don't have to tell me all that. Macy's just kind of like, well, okay, I understand. So Robert bails, and back at the house, the girls in the mask like just now realize that they have a hatchet, and like bedroom doors are not very thick. Like you can punch through them pretty easily, but if you have a hatchet, no problem. So then one of them takes the hatchet and just starts banging through it, and they get in. They don't see Ella, so they start looking for her, and they go in the bathroom. Ella's in the bathtub, so Ella like knocks the shower curtain down on them and kind of covers them so they can't see, and then she's able to run past them. And she gets all the way to the bottom of the stairs, and that's when she kind of remembers, oh, what about that hole in my foot? Oh, what about that even bigger hole in my back? And then she kind of collapses and passes out. And she wakes up, and she sees Robert's there. Except Robert is dead. Robert is carved out. They made a jack-o'-lantern out of him with a candle in his belly where they dug out all of his entrails, and he's just in the chair, and she's just like, and the girls in masks are just kind of standing there staring at her, and she just looks, she's just like, just kill me. And they just kind of look at her, and they're like, just completely lose interest, and they drop their weapons and turn around and start walking off. So Ella gets up and grabs the knife, shoves it through one of their jugulars, and then turns to the other one and stabs her a bunch of times. And then they die, and she walks off. And then the header on the screen says Coda. October 31st, again, but not the same October 31st as the beginning of the movie. And there's these two girls, because Ella unmasked the girls before leaving the house, leaving the scene. So there's two girls, it looks like it's supposed to be the same girl. What it feels like they finished this movie and watched it and were like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So they're throwing this coda in at the last minute, and they have these two girls who look like the Masked Sisters, and they explain to this pregnant girl that's like their friend, because they're all hanging out in that same house, that the original murder, and Ella's house, and now this house, are all the same house. And they start explaining about this, how this guy came and killed his pregnant girlfriend and all this stuff, and like, apparently the girls in the mask are the fetuses inside that lived the initial stabbing, and now they're grown up. So because they said it was 14 years ago, I don't believe these girls are 14 though. And then they're explaining, yeah, it happened right here in this house. And the girl they're telling it to, the pregnant one's like kind of freaking out. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed now. So she goes into her room and gets ready for bed and hears a noise, and then that's the end. So it kind of clears up the beginning, but at the same time, I mean, it makes a little bit more sense out of the beginning. I don't understand how these girls can survive being cut out of the womb, then getting stabbed in the jugular, then getting stabbed multiple times in the chest. And now now they're attacking. I don't know why they had the masks on to begin with. I understand like when they were killing people, but I don't understand like why they were at school wearing masks. And then it ends so abruptly. And I'm okay with them explaining the beginning. I thought that was fine, because I don't need you to explain why these girls are doing that. It's kind of scarier not knowing, like them just going out and doing it. That's scarier than they're doing it because they're mad about this or they want revenge for this. Just them senselessly running around, just, hey, we're gonna go out tonight and kill. Hey, that was good enough for me. So I was on board with that. Not a great movie. But I don't, the dialogue wasn't bad. The story wasn't that bad. It was just kind of poorly executed. The dialogue, it was kind of like 90s dialogue. I mean, there's some pretty good lines in it. I don't know. It's not total B movie. It actually looks pretty good. So it's kind of worth watching. It's a Halloween movie. So that is Bad Apples. The Badass Award goes to Ella, because maybe she killed the sisters, but probably she didn't. A for effort, I guess. What did we learn? If there's suspicious activity going on in your area, stay inside. Lock your doors. If there's a knock on your door and you're on the phone, keep the person on the line while you answer. If you like what you just saw, hit like and subscribe, or whatever you normally do when you enjoy a video. Also, click the links below to visit my Facebook page and the main website where you have access to hundreds of written reviews.